Some reporters from Slate magazine had a brief conversation with Senator Dianne Feinstein in an elevator yesterday afternoon, and she apparently appeared confused on the matter of being absent from the Capitol for the past few months. When one reporter asked about what the response from her and her colleagues had been since her return, she said, "No, I haven't been gone. I haven't been gone. I've been here working." When the reporter asked if she meant working from home, she said, "No, I've been here. I've been here voting." Slate reporter Jim Newell asked the senator how she was feeling, and she said, "I'm feeling fine. I have a problem with the leg." And when another reporter asked what was wrong with it, she said, "Well, nothing that's anyone's concern but mine." It's worrisome.
It seems from that, I read that whole Slate article, it looks like she was offered the opportunity to clarify that what she meant is, well, yes, she's been working and voting in the last few days since she returned to Washington, and that is not what the sentiment she described. She described as if she had not gone anywhere.
Yeah, what's disturbing, part of what's disturbing about it is this is far from the first piece of evidence that she is not there.
Yeah.
It's newsworthy because it's the first interview that we've gotten, sort of an conversation that we've gotten since her return to Congress. Many people were really stunned by what her condition appeared to be as she was wheeled into Congress last week. She did vote for the judicial appointments that were being held up because of her absence, and she was able to, in a very mechanical, pat way, perform her responsibilities. But I do think that kind of a statement, which throws questions about her cognitive fitness, her situational awareness, are troubling, because that suggests that there is a puppet, not just that she's having communication issues, but that she is being puppeteered by staff members who maybe have an obligation to ring the alarm bell.
I think it's more than suggested at this point. I think it's pretty beyond any reasonable doubt been demonstrated over and over again by the accounts we get, her behavior in public, the things she says. It's a problem we have in our democracy that it is proven to be just really difficult to dislodge powerful figures who have served in office for a long, long time. What are your views on term limits, those kinds of things in general?
I think they're a good idea.
Yeah, so do I. Interesting. Okay. I expected to fight over that. Well, because I feel like I used to know, even in college, I was very passionate about term limits, and I would talk to liberals who were like, "Oh, I thought it was a good idea," but then I realized it would just be, it's a check on consensus building, and because you learn to be an effective legislator over time, and so then when you're at the top of your game, you're going to get yanked out of it.
No, you should have incentives to cultivate the next generation. You shouldn't have the Democratic Party so willing to scuttle the careers of people like Julian Castro because he had the audacity to question Biden's cognitive fitness on the debate stage. They should have to need someone like Julian Castro who's demonstrated a certain charisma and charm and ability to break through onto the national stage, and shouldn't be treating these people like they're disposable.
Yeah, no, I heartily agree with that. Senator John Fetterman also facing fire online for his questioning of Silicon Valley Bank executives on the Hill yesterday.
Is it staggering? Is it a staggering responsibility that the head of a bank could literally crash our economy? It's astonishing. That's like if you have, and they also realize is that now they have a guaranteed way to be saved by no matter how. So it's isn't it appropriate that this kind of control should be more stricter to prevent this kind of thing from going? Or should we just go on and start bailing and sailing whoever bank, regardless of how their conduct is?
One Twitter user tweeted, "John Fetterman is incapable of speech or coherent thought." And look, that was real hard to listen to. I do think so. He's questioning important people there. I'm not sure it's not fair to make people answer questions that they don't even properly understand. That was very jumbled to me. It's usually tailored to get sound bites. That wasn't tailored to do that.
It's going to get a lot of support, and that's why he was able.
Statement if someone else writes it for him. Look, I respect that you substantially like and agree with his politics. That's totally fine. His difficulties in himself communicating, especially in that format. He shouldn't be the one questioning people. Let's say you had whoever you most want to get answers from Congress. Say it's the CEO of the rail company from East Palestine. There's no way you want him to be the lead questioning.
Well, no, I don't have more leniency.
Well, it's up to the constituents to decide if they want to factor in these things.
Yeah.
Factor in these things.
He won.
Sure.
He won with people.
You get the representative you want. So that's what they wanted. So that's what they get. Yeah, I did not think people. I thought a lot of people who might have voted for him otherwise would not be able to vote for him after that performance. But I was wrong. What about Feinstein?
The Constitution was written by men who believed in a God-fearing nation.
Save the party. The party's hanging by a thread.
We got to get rid of Biden. Save the country.
Actually gets schooled really badly.
Oh, man, save the party. The party's hanging by a thread.
We got to get rid of Biden. Save the country.
The party's hanging by a thread. You got to save the party. Listen, no more QAnon, no more MAGA, no more debt ceiling nonsense. Come on now, save the party. Save America. Save the children. Do something about guns.
Right, so
come on, invest in
the border. Save
the border is the border is like Trump.
Hey, where are all the kids? Where are the migrant children? You guys
have
lost them.
No,
you've lost them.
We love the migrant children. We lost them.
You can't find them.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, migrant children.
No, we don't know the
Oh, you sadly listened before.
As you're going to see, not only is she now claiming that her life was in danger, but she's also upset that Jamal Bowman, being the great politician that he is, took advantage of the situation and used his voice.
Jamal Bowman led a mob down there in front of that courthouse, and my life was in danger. I had to have so much security. There was not enough. I was swarmed. It's all on video. Everyone can see this. But I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing.
And here she is having the incredible audacity to somehow claim that because Jamal Bowman correctly characterized her as a white supremacist, or at least a white supremacist sympathizer, that is somehow equal to as if somebody came up to Jamal Bowman and called him the N-word.
Calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to, that is like calling a person of color the N-word. Calling me a white supremacist is equal to that, and that is wrong.
Is it wrong, though, Marge? I'm pretty sure you're hoping that everybody forgets about this moment.
They're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler, and they say that's not a good thing. And can we give a round of applause for Russia? We are honored, we are humbled and excited to welcome to the stage right now for our first speech, and we'd love to get to know her much better. I think this is going to be the beginning of something great. The representative from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
That vile racist is Nick Fuentes, you know, the guy that had dinner with Donald Trump and Kanye West. And in case you didn't know what he stands for, here's the homework that Marjorie Taylor Greene should have done and probably did do before speaking at that event.
You know, they say about America, they say diversity is our strength. You got to recognize the fact that this is a godless country. I hate it. Black people are violent. You know, send the military into these black neighborhoods, make the streets safe. They'll complain about it. It doesn't matter. Enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, and to drink out of a different water fountain. Big deal. Russia. Can we give a round of applause for Russia? The fundamentals of our worldview. A society where boys and girls get married as teenagers and start having kids, and they have big families and a high birth rate. We live in a big Middle Eastern bazaar. We're a big Middle Eastern bazaar with people sitting on blankets and selling cockroaches on sticks. White people are done being bullied. Trump's got to get in there and never leave. Elect Trump one more time, and then stop having elections.
That piece of shit right there is who Marjorie Taylor Greene, a United States representative, chose to speak for. And only after the overwhelming backlash did Marjorie Taylor Greene cut her ties to Nick Fuentes and his despicable organization. You know what, Marge? Spare me your bullshit outrage about being called a white supremacist, okay? And then the deranged, sycophantic subordinate of Donald Trump actually had the audacity to say this in her bullshit press conference announcing those stupid impeachments.
Out in the real world, where American taxpayers live, employees are fired when they are corrupt or aren't adequately serving their employer, or purposely destroying a country.
Well, Marge, the fact that you're actively trying to destroy this country has become ridiculously apparent to the majority of this country, luckily. But I don't think there's too many CEOs of many corporations out there that would want their employees acting like this either. You remember when you chased down and harassed one of the survivors of the Parkland school shooting, which saw 17 kids die? Because I sure as shit do.
30 appointments with senators. How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools. You know that? That's what stopped that guy with a gun. That was David Hogue right there. David, we saw him inside the Senate building. He had 30 appointments where he went around and got to talk to senators. I got to talk to none. He had media coverage all over the place. I had zero. Guess what? I'm a gun owner. I'm an American citizen. And I have nothing, but this guy with his George Soros funding and his major liberal funding has got everything.
Now, if you're a sane person, you couldn't possibly imagine speaking to or about anybody that just survived a school shooting that way. And who the hell can forget this moment where Marjorie Taylor Greene and her goons are yelling at AOC's office through the mail slot, you know, because that's normal.
Ocasio-Cortez, she went and hid. She couldn't take it.
I'm looking for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's office.
She made a great point that AOC, she might be in daycare because she has a child. Oh, we can leave her a note.
This is like so
This looks like a progressive feminist, maybe Planned Parenthood or NARAL came and visited AOC and all wrote her notes. We're going to ask her if Common Core math helped get her through college. They locked the door. Wait, what? Excuse me, I'm an American citizen. I pay taxes. I'd like to speak to someone in Congress. Oh my gosh.
Hello, Ocasio. Staff members for Ocasio, we'd like to, we are your employers. We are here to inspect the office. Could we please come in?
This is immoral.
This is immoral.
I'm so offended. I'm offended. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I'm an American citizen. I pay your salary through the taxes that you collect from me through the IRS because I'm a tax-paying citizen of the United States. I'm a woman, I'm a female business owner, and I'm proud to be an American woman. And I do not support your socialist policies, and I do not support your murderous abortion policies. As a mother of 3 children, I'm appalled at New York's law for abortion, and it needs to end, and it needs to stop now. You're bringing God's judgment on our country, and I'm against it, as well as my friends. So you need to stop being a baby and stop locking your door and come out and face the American citizens that you serve. If you want to be a big girl, you need to get rid of your diaper and come out and be able to talk to the American citizens instead of us having to use a little flap.
It's kind of like her.
Sad. Oh, flappy, flappy. This is like child games.
Bye
bye, Ocasio-Cortez. Bye baby. Bye baby. Bye little baby girl.
Now, I'm not an overpaid CEO of some huge corporation, but I'm guessing right now that's not the type of behavior that they're looking for. So when you hear all these articles of impeachment being thrown around, let's not forget who's doing the throwing. Because these are not serious people, but unfortunately they do have a serious impact on today's society. Which is all the more reason we need to keep calling out the bullshit, keep calling out the hypocrisy, keep sticking together, keep watching Midas touch.
9 of the 10 people that we've identified that have very good knowledge with respect to the Bidens, they're one of 3 things. Maria, they're either currently in court, they're currently in jail, or they're currently missing.
So, comrade,
You're telling me you lost another submarine? Come on, you lost an informant. You lost the informant. The guy that you claimed gave you all this information that you built this entire charade on. What, do you and Durham, like you guys have tea parties every weekend to talk about how you can destroy your reputations and your career? Durham tried this, remember? He chased conspiracy theories to try to prove that the FBI was corrupt and rigged the 2016 election. He made a fool of himself time and time and time again. And now we have lost informants. In fact, the informant that this entire charade was supposedly built on. Attorney Mark Zaid posted this on Twitter, that he's represented whistleblowers in the intelligence community for more than 25 years and never lost one. Never lost one. I don't really know, Charlie, where to begin with this one, except for the fact that we had all of this breathless huffing and puffing about the FBI being corrupt and staging January the 6th and spying on Donald Trump. And then you had all of right-wing papers, Trumpy papers, saying that Durham was proving that Hillary spied. And then it all ended up being a lie. Durham made an absolute fool of himself and had to shut down the investigation. And now you have Comer, who said, oh, yeah, we have this informant who we built this entire case on, but we lost him. It's more of the same.
Yeah, the hunt for the great white whale isn't going well, is it? I mean, it's never a good thing when you actually lose your informant. Look, James Comer has been making one big promise after another. He has been saying, we're going to have this big bombshell. Well, what's pretty obvious is he doesn't have the bombshell, he doesn't have the smoking gun, he doesn't have evidence, and he's lost his informant. I mean, this is beyond embarrassing. But this is what happens when you have an internet meme and a Fox News narrative that comes up against actual reality. When people say, show us the evidence. You have something. You've been promising us something really, really huge, something that's going to change everything, and it just doesn't happen. And James Comer continues to be all hat, no cattle when it comes to this investigation. And that was, by the way, when Maria Bartiromo is saying to you, are you kidding me? You don't have evidence. When Maria Bartiromo is questioning the credibility, you know how bad things are.
Why does that not apply? Where is the whistleblower exception in the rules of Congress that says that does not apply?
It's the prerogative of the committee to decide.
No, we have the rules of the House.
We have the whistleblower testimony. The whistleblower does not wish that to be made available to the Democrats at this time.
The whistleblower doesn't make committee rules, sir.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Troy. Hey, the Weaponization of the Government Committee, led by Jim Jordan, had a hearing today that went absolutely off the rails when Chairman Jim Jordan tried to withhold witness testimony from the Democratic minority, testimony from the so-called whistleblowers that have been brought forward to testify against the FBI, so-called FBI whistleblowers. Jim Jordan refused to give access to their testimony to the Democrats because he claimed that that's what the whistleblowers wanted, in clear violation of the rules of the House. Check out the following exchanges. This is incredible.
I understand, and we have been made aware from what you stated in your opening statement, as well as in a press conference earlier, that Mr. Allen did meet with you all and might have testimony that was transcribed. And I understand that he stated that he did not feel comfortable meeting with the Democrats. He's comfortable being here today in this open forum. We will be questioning him. Will you give us a copy of that testimony that was transcribed of your discussions with him?
It'll be up to Mr. Allen.
But you are in possession of them, aren't you?
Sure are.
So why would you not give them to us?
Mr. Allen's a whistleblower. He didn't want that to happen.
He didn't want that he's comfortable here in open discussion with us today?
Sure is. You can ask some questions if you want.
You don't share your information with the minority?
Nope.
So you're not sharing information that you've obtained with the
whistleblower saw what you did with Mr. Friend and others, the false information you gave the press, so much so that they had issued corrections.
The whistleblower doesn't decide that. The committee decides it.
And we've decided.
And you decided that you're not going to share.
Mr. Allen is here. You can ask him questions, and we can talk about the testimony. But right now, you're not getting the testimony. Mr. Allen's here to testify.
And you'll give us the testimony when, after he's left, or at no point in time, or when will we have that? That's only for the Republicans. Is that what you're saying?
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady did not state a point of order.
The point of order was, will he be giving us the testimony of the witness that is here before us, and that you have information of that you are not sharing with the Democrats?
I moved that
I was indulging the ranking member. The gentleman from California is right. She's not stated a point of order. That 5-minute questioning.
So the point of order is, I would like the testimony. I move that you give us the testimony of the individual
who's here.
There's a motion been made to move the table. Point of order. State your point of order.
The point of order is, why does Rule 11, Clause 2, subsection E1A not apply to this subcommittee? I can read for you. Each committee shall keep a complete record of all committee action, which shall include, in the case of a meeting or hearing transcript, a substantially verbatim account of remarks actually made during the proceedings, subject only to some technical things. Such records shall be the property of the House, and each member, delegate, and the resident commissioner shall have access thereafter. Why does that not apply? Where is the whistleblower exception in the rules of Congress that says that does not apply?
It's the prerogative of the committee to decide. We have
the rules of the House.
We have the whistleblower testimony. The whistleblower does not wish that to be made available to the Democrats at this time.
The whistleblower doesn't make committee rules, sir.
Mr. Lynch is recognized for 5 minutes of questioning.
Mr. Chairman, is the ruling of the chair always unquestioned, or do we have a vote on how some of these issues are decided?
You're making a point of order?
No, I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
A point of inquiry.
Okay.
It's my understanding that the minority in this committee under the rules is entitled to the same testimony, information, documents that the majority is entitled to. So, I mean, I'm not aware that you're able to withhold information from the minority that we would need to use to prepare for.
When it comes to whistleblowers, you're not. And I would just remind the committee, remind everyone. Look, when it comes to whistleblowers, you are not.
That's not right.
It's shocking that the
That's
gentleman.
not right.
It's shocking
In
that
fact,
the gentleman.
you talk so much about the whistleblower and the
It's shocking that the gentleman from New York would say that when you were part of an investigation with an anonymous whistleblower.
We had.
Mr. Chairman, I can't hear 5 people at once. Can you have regular order?
Mr. Chairman,
Chair recognizes it's.
I'm inquiring, and I was not.
And I told you that when it comes to whistleblowers, you are not entitled to it. That's the discretion of Mr. Allen.
Mr. Chairman, these individuals have been determined not to be whistleblowers. These are not whistleblowers. They've been determined by the agency not to be whistleblowers. Are you deciding that they're whistleblowers?
Yes, the law decides. Did you not listen to Mr. Levitt's testimony? Did you not read the law? The law decides that they are whistleblowers.
His attorney
Chair recognizes the gentlelady from New York. The gentlelady from New York has been recognized.
The law has not determined they are whistleblowers. His attorney is just asserting that.
Jim Jordan just plowing ahead with trying to deny Democrats access to this testimony, just making up rules out of thin air, making up the Jim Jordan rules, apparently, of how Congress is supposed to be run, based on some sort of personal vendetta that both he and the witnesses have against the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, that's not how the rules of Congress work, and Jim Jordan can't just do that.
This from NBC News. Top Trump lawyer Tim Parlatore leaves former president's legal team amid special counsel's document probe. Parlatore testified before a federal grand jury investigating Trump's handling of classified documents. Evan Corcoran. Headline, Trump's lawyer testifies before grand jury after crime fraud ruling in classified documents probe. Former Attorney General Bill Barr. Headline from CBS News, Bill Barr says Trump's classified documents case is his biggest legal risk. Quote, I don't think Trump's argument's gonna fly. And what did Bill Barr say? Trump is very exposed in classified documents case, and quote, it's very clear that he, Trump, had no business having those documents. This guy, Ty Cobb, who was one of the gaggle of White House lawyers on Team Trump previously. Trump's White House lawyer predicts ex-president will end up in jail as Mar-a-Lago probe heats up. And friends, that article begins. Donald Trump's former attorney has boldly predicted that the former president is going to jail as the criminal investigation into the trove of classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago continues to heat up. Ty Cobb, who worked as a White House attorney for the Trump administration from July 2017 to May 2018, told CNN that he believes the evidence against Mr. Trump will lead to a conviction and prison time. And what did Ty Cobb say about Donald Trump's claims that he can telepathically declassify documents with his mind? I don't know, maybe kind of an I dream of Jeannie thing. Here's what Ty Cobb had to say about that. The simple fact is, there is a process, and Trump totally ignored that and believes that the mere fact he took them, the documents, declassifies the documents, that is not the law. And Cobb says, yeah, it looks to me like they're dotting I's and crossing T's, and they are just about ready to go against Donald Trump. Lawyer after lawyer after lawyer after lawyer, in act or in deed, is sending the signal. Trump's getting indicted.
Now, the author of the Constitution of the United States is President James Madison, who was the 4th president of the United States. But he had this vision that God placed in him.
The purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. James Madison.
You see, what they wanted was not a United States of America. They wanted free and independent states. So what happened when James Madison was, he's called the author of the Constitution, he was supposed to say, we the people of free and independent states. That's the way it was supposed to happen, but God changed the word on the day that he spoke it. He said, we the people of the United States. In order to perform a more perfect union, the preamble. And so what happened is God united this United States together at that day under a document.
I love these history lectures from random MAGA preachers who love nothing more than to twist historical record to fit their very specific modern political goals. So his overall speech is about one of the biggest issues that plagued the founding fathers, about how the states that make up the United States would be recognized and what their relationship would be to the overall union. I've never heard his version of how the wording was changed, but it is true that there were countless hours of debate about whether the Constitution should read, we the people of the United States or these United States. He may be right on that point, but then he just absolutely goes off the rails saying that the change from these United States to the United States happened magically because God came down and proclaimed it, which is a funny way of disrespecting the founding fathers who actually had hours, days-long debates about the wording of the Constitution, and it very much was not solved by divine intervention. So not only is that not true, it's actually disrespectful to the manner in which the Constitution was actually forged through intense debate, study, and respectful disagreement, things that feel totally impossible today when the person you're trying to debate argues that God spoke directly to James Madison. These far-right preachers are so out of control, and I genuinely feel bad for the people who trust them and look up to them and get their talking points from them, because they do this thing where they'll say like one thing that's true to establish legitimacy and then just lie the rest of the time so their listeners have no idea that most of what follows that first truth is complete and utter nonsense. While we may see these guys for who they really are, the relationship between pastors and their congregation is fierce, and they hold an outsized amount of power over the men, women, and children who trust them.
And what's primarily shocking is the fact that here we are in a week where a former president of the United States is found liable for sexual abuse and sexual assault and defamation of a woman who survived such abuse and assault. assault, and the country just yawns. Well, think about the teenage girl in a church somewhere who's being abused by her youth pastor, wondering whether to come forward. And she hears not only that, but when the victim is ridiculed by a presidential candidate in front of a crowd, the response is laughter. That has devastating implications.
This is Dr. Russell Moore, a Christian writer and editor, pointing out how devastating Donald Trump's callous attitude towards his victims will be for vulnerable people, especially within the church. With pastors who twist the historical record and presidents who ridicule victims of sexual assault, so many innocent people will be in the crossfires of their disgusting behavior now and for years to come. For more of my videos on the breakdown, stay right here. You can check out my latest video on the real reason Fox News won't dump Trump by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at CaroJohnson917.
And I did a cursory reading of the Durham report online. I don't see any indictments. I think a number of you were saying there'd be multiple indictments. I don't know, did I miss something? Were there indictments?
But amidst the diatribe, Palo found some space to state the facts that eventually kicked the meltdown into overdrive.
We can't survive the redo of that. And frankly, Donald Trump got some of his best moments out of the, quote, Russia collusion.
Did the American people?
He fed off of it.
Oh, come on. No, I mean, really?
He did.
I mean,
He
who
did.
benefited? You're saying someone actually benefited from this?
Trump, who is a showman, benefited by being a victim of this. And that's why he continues to proliferate the image that he is a victim. He did it last week in his town hall. Okay. Here's the thing with the John Durham investigation. If all of what Jesse just said is true, why are there no new charges? Why did someone put out a 306-page report? I think that's what it was. And everyone then just goes home, goes about their business.
It's an inside job, Jessica.
You can't, if you keep losing this much, maybe they're just losers, right? Maybe there isn't truth to what you've been arguing all along here by just saying, no, because you charge the report. So, two things about the report. The report says that there's truth and that the point of this was to find whether any person or entity violated the law. John Durham could say all this, but he doesn't find any legal law breaking. Otherwise, he would bring new charges. He tried 3 times. He has 1 low-level conviction and 2 acquittals. Basically came up with bupkis after 4 years of wasting.
So it's okay for the FBI to manipulate what the American people think based on lies?
It is absolutely not okay. I think that they should have told the Trump campaign if there were people that were trying to influence it.
Yeah.
But the only person who actually lost out by the FBI was Hillary Clinton when Jim Comey got up there 11 days before the election and said that they had a second investigation opened into her emails and didn't find anything. They saved her.
This is a new statement that just...
Complete outrage where China is poisoning America's children, poisoning our teenagers, poisoning our young people. How long are you going to let this go on?
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this scourge.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar. You are letting this go on, and the numbers.
Well,
no.
Actually, I want you to take the words of the speaker down.
So in making a ruling on this, it's pretty clear that the rules state you can't impugn someone's character. Identifying or calling someone a liar is unacceptable in this committee. And I make the ruling that we strike those words. Did you move to take the words down or to strike them, Mr. Thompson? Yeah, sorry, I just stepped in.
To take them down.
So
That's what we did.
my understanding is if words are taken down, that means that the member can no longer speak in whatever the proceeding is that those words were said.
Personal inquiry, point of personal inquiry.
There's no such thing. Stand by just a second. House, when we strike, it does terminate the time of the individual who is speaking. So the gentlelady is no longer recognized.